Imagine this: you've spent months, maybe even years, planning your big move to Australia. You've polished your resume, aced the English test, and even visualized your life in Sydney or Melbourne. But then, rejection. Your visa application stalls, not because you lack skills, but because your job is no longer wanted. Welcome to the harsh reality of 2025, where not all professions are treated equally. In Australia's skilled migration system, every year, the Australian government updates its skilled occupation lists to reflect changing labour market demands. These decisions are based on data, economic forecasts, and industry input, yet for thousands of hopeful migrants, they can make or break a dream. In a post-pandemic world with shifting priorities and rising domestic skill development, certain jobs that were once safe bets are now dead ends. So what are these jobs? Why are they slipping off the priority lists? And more importantly, could your profession be on this downward spiral? Whether you're a recruitment agency, an immigration consultant, or an international professional planning to invest your time and money into the PR journey, knowing which roles to avoid is just as critical as knowing which ones are in demand. In this session, we are diving deep into the 7 worst jobs for PR visa invitation in Australia for 2025. These aren't just low-demand roles. They are red flags that could cost you thousands in wasted effort and years of lost opportunity. So before you apply, listen closely. This list might change everything. Here are the comprehensive details on the 7 worst jobs for PR visa invitation in Australia 2025. Based on recent changes to skilled occupation priorities, invitation ceilings, and government lists, the 7 most disadvantaged occupations in 2025. 1. Sports coaches, instructors, and officers. These roles have seen sharp cuts in invitation ceilings, signaling low priority. 2. Architects. Also removed from priority ceilings, no longer an in-demand category. 3. Plasterers. Similarly deprioritized within general skilled program ceilings. 4. Core construction trades. Plumbers, bricklayers, painters, stonemasons, roof tilers, cabinet makers, etc. were omitted from the core skills occupation list, CSOL, in drafts. Essential trades like plumbers, builders, and engineers have been left off, while yoga instructors and jewelry designers are in. 5. Excavator, bulldozer, crane operators, and machinery operators. Not included in priority visa lists, despite critical infrastructure needs. 6. Top chefs, Italian and French. Initially excluded due to caveat 14 nationality restrictions. Though later clarified, their standing remains uncertain. 7. Brothel managers. Briefly added then swiftly removed from CSOL. Demonstrates instability in list inclusion. Why these roles are at risk. Occupation ceilings, these roles are hitting invitation limits, causing dry spells in PR pathways. CSOL priorities. Job categories like trades and construction are excluded to focus on sectors deemed more critical, often sidelining traditional trades. Policy shifts, emphasis is shifting toward core skills, IT, aged care specialists, and away from infrastructure, trades requiring mass migration. Policy volatility, fluctuations. Like brothel manager. Inclusion, removal, and chef restrictions reflect unpredictable criteria. What this means for prospective applicants. Delayed or denied invitations if your occupation is on this discouraged list. Additional hurdles: these professions may be redirected to consultation lists and require lobbying or state nomination. Higher competition from domestic job markets and tightened caps. Need for extra planning, consider alternate occupations. Secure employer sponsorship. Or pursue state-nominated pathways in regions with skills shortages. Great question, and it's critical to take smart, proactive steps when your occupation is on the low priority or excluded list. Here's what any applicant should consider doing next when facing this challenge. Action plan for applying to Australia. PR in 2025. Even if your job is not in demand, 1. Check if your occupation is eligible on the state or regional level. Some states and territories have their own nomination programs. Subclass 190 or 491. Even for lower demand occupations. Example, a plumber might not be invited through the federal stream, but can get nominated by South Australia or Northern Territory if there's a regional shortage. What to do? Check current state nomination lists. Each state publishes its own. 2. Pivot to a closely related, in-demand occupation. Many applicants reskill or requalify in a similar occupation that is in demand. For example, from chef rain into hospitality manager or aged care cook. From architect shift toward project manager, construction, or BIM technician. What to do? See if your background overlaps with any core skilled occupation list items. 3. Consider an employer-sponsored pathway. Subclass 186 or 482. Even if your occupation isn't on the skilled migration list, a sponsoring employer can bring you in via Employer Nomination Scheme, ENS. Especially useful for hospitality, trades, or construction. What to do? Network with companies in Australia. Or work with recruitment agents who have access to sponsoring businesses. 4. Improve your PR point score. Raise your competitiveness in case your occupation is still borderline. Increase English test score, IELTS. PTE, gain work experience. Pursue an Australian qualification. Add professional certifications or NADI credentials. What to do? Aim for 90+ points if your job is low priority. 5. Look into temporary visas first, pathway to PR. Consider starting on a temporary skill shortage visa, subclass 482. Working holiday visa or student visa with a pathway to PR. You can later apply for PR once you're in Australia. Working and building experience. What to do? Map out a 2 to 3 year plan with a migration agent. 6. Consult a registered migration agent. Given the frequent changes, professional advice is highly recommended, especially for occupations in the grey zone. Agents can find loopholes, recommend less competitive routes, help with documentation and faster turnarounds, analytical thoughts. Australia's Skilled Migration Program in 2025 reveals a strategic recalibration, prioritizing critical infrastructure, healthcare, and digital competencies over traditional trade and lifestyle roles. The exclusion of occupations such as plasterers, sports coaches, architects, and core construction trades from priority lists is not a reflection of skill redundancy, but rather a policy shift toward long-term economic sustainability and labor market stability. The data indicates that roles once considered migration-friendly are now facing lower invitation ceilings, removal from core occupation lists, or ambiguous visa pathways. This demonstrates that the Australian government is fine-tuning migration to address acute national skill shortages, rather than filling broad occupational gaps.